So let's set up a technical sheet so we can put some drawings that kind of better capture the conditions we're trying to study and the way we're studying them, and give us some room for putting some calculations on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new technical sheet. So I'll right click here on sheets and hopefully not do that. New sheet. We'll use the E sheet, E1, and we'll think about what we want to populate this with. And I think we'd want to use some kind of version of the 3D version. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on this and make a duplicate view. And right away we'll call this, we'll rename this like main beam analysis. Or maybe we'll say load. And okay, and then with this we want to really kind of crop it down. Let's use the section box to kind of clarify the area that we're looking at. We might use this 3D view also to help give a kind of key us as to where we're looking to do our analysis on the whole building. But I'll pull this back just to exclude that last column. And we'll crop it. And we'll hide that section box. And we'll make sure the crop region is visible. And then we'll go ahead and we'll drag that onto the sheet. So I don't think I renamed the sheet yet. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll double click on that. And oops, I didn't mean to do that. I want to rename it. I guess it doesn't allow double clicking. Let's call this the structure analysis review. Don't sound so cocky as if we're really doing an in-depth analysis here. And so let's drag on our 3D view. Oops, excuse me, our main beam now. And it's huge. So let's change its scale. Let's knock it down a couple of units here. That looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and delete that and drag it back on again. And we might put the 3D view on. We'll call this full structure. And we'll drag that on. And obviously it's huge. So we're going to take it way down in scale. Let's go ahead and crop this. And I'll delete it. And drag it back on. I can leave this somewhere, you know, kind of as a key for what the full structure is. And then we kind of need a kind of like a cross section through there to see what that beam actually looks like. So we'll go to, I guess, the site maybe. So this is the area we're interested in. So let's go ahead and grab a section. And I'm going to just crop this, pull this section view back so we're not containing anything else that's extraneous to what we want to describe. And let's give this view a name. So I've got to go to sections and we'll just call it beam section. We can call it beam column section, since it's also going to show the column. And let's go ahead and drag that onto our sheet. And it turns out to be a little small. So let's bump that up. That looks pretty good. And let's make some adjustments to this. I'm going to double click into that. We'll give it a realistic rendering. It looks like we're cropping our load. So So I'll kind of open this up a little bit. And let's hide the crop box. And looks good, so I'll deactivate it, delete it, and drag it back on again. And maybe if we put these on the sheet properly, I can pull these all down and leave room for kind of full view. And I don't know if we can bump the scale up on this without it getting out of our range here. All right, so that's kind of the idea. We can tell them where we're looking at the load, how we're thinking we need to think about this load. I'm noticing there's an error in here in that I don't have the level of detail, so I actually can't see the beam. So I'm going to double click into this. I'm going to change the level of detail to fine so I can see all of the structure that's going on here right now. So that's a good start for that. Okay, so let's deactivate this view. And then the other thing is we don't really know how to calculate our tributary load yet because we don't really know the dimensions of this. Well, we do, but we don't have a way of describing it. So let's go ahead and dimension this. And we'll do this in a 3D dimension. So what I'll do is I'll actually go to architecture and set a plane to create dimensions on. Oops, well, I meant to pick a plane. And we'll go ahead and pick that top plane. And then I'll use the dimensioning tool. And we'll catch that outside edge to outside edge. Pull that dimension off. And we'll do the same in the other direction. And I don't like the way that dimension is showing on this background. So maybe we'll actually just, I don't know if we can do anything with this rendering in order to make it just look like white. We have the background set for sky. Let's see if we set it for none. I guess that's pretty legible, so let's leave it like that. That way we don't get that white text on top of that background like that. Okay, so there we have our condition. We might actually want to also turn the lines on here. Let's see how that looks. Give a little more definition. We're really not trying to be too artistic here, just to define things. That's better. All right, and we'll deactivate that view. Okay, so now we have a way of describing that load, its dimensions, how we think it fits over the scheme of the construction, and we're prepared to take a look at what kind of a load condition this main beam would have across here with this implied tributary load. So we'll start looking at the math, so to speak, and the calculations next.